Hulkling is incredibly flexible, like, right? Because you can use Shapeshifter, you can use Wiccan to get Shapeshifter, which gets you the Shapeshift upgrade that you need to get that ping damage, to remove that threat, to heal yourself. There's a lot of answers in his kit, and finding the right one is a lot easier than I expected it to be when I first broke him out, because he has got Altman Resonance, which can recur them. His alter ego can recur them. He can use it with Wiccan. He can use it with Shapeshifter. And then there's a lot of cards that can like search for Shapeshifter, like Kalu or a Brother Voodoo can search for them. So I feel like he has a lot of ways to get to that shape that he needs to be in order to solve the problem that's currently in front of him. And with Hulk Shape, he can burst damage so fast, right? He has 3 attack with Hulk Shape. You play Hulk Shape, you get to ready, and then you get to do the damage. So if you play another event. So that worked out well. I do want to talk a little bit about his aspects and try and talk through some of my thoughts around what I think is his best aspect and just kind of work that out a little bit here on stream, because I think he's good in all of them. I think just running through them, aggression seems good. I really like his Holy Heroes play, where he can fill up Holy Heroes, not necessarily to 6, which is where I typically like to get the optimized draw out of Holy Heroes, because you flip down, remove 3 on the turn you flip down, remove 3 on the turn you flip back up. But because you can time it so that he only needs 3, and then you can impersonation down, draw those cards, then flip back up, and then you can use those cards in your hero state, that feels really good. Spoiling for a fight in aggression is a fantastic 0 cost event that's going to trigger his shapeshift upgrade, as well as get him ready to use his big stats. That being said, I feel like aggression may be his weakest, but it's still really solid. He can thwart like nobody's business using Wing Shape, which also gives him access to Aerial, which allows him to use cards like Dive Bomb, Pitchback, all really, really good aggression aerial events. So I think aggression is really good, but I think maybe towards the bottom of his list. JF, you think that the best at aggression with Winged as his main thwart? Interesting. Are you running like a lot of the aerial events at that point, where you're running like Pitchback is a really efficient damage card, which then can trigger 2 thwarting. If you just sit in Wing Shape, you can trigger Pitchback over and over. I've found a lot of success just sitting in Wing Shape with my aggression build in a multiplayer game and dive bombing Hone Technique. Hone Technique is another thing to talk about here, because Hone Technique, you need that mental resource to play it, but he has so much access to grab Imitation Form, which is the double mental, which you can use to play Hone Technique, as well as get the kicker for anything that you play, usually using the extra damage for Hone Technique. So he's really good in aggression, but like when you look at Justice, which is like the aspect that we just played, he can thwart like crazy. And I think I'm kind of thinking about this through a true solo lens. He can thwart like crazy. He has a lot of card draw. He has Wing Shape. He has Readying. He has, I mean, like Justice has one way or another in it. And Hulkling can clear pretty much everything, including utilizing an imitation to clear, then drop down and get the double. Anything that gives him access to his alter ego to get a double resource just feels really good. And Justice, with all the confuse that it has in it, it feels like Justice has to be one of his better aspects. That being said, he has Imitation to flip down. He doesn't need Confuse. You have Ready for a Fight and Protection. So like you have ways to access Alter Ego without Confuse at this point in the game's life cycle. But Justice felt really strong. It felt like I guess I am at 2 health. So like there is that. But I wasn't chump blocking because we were playing against Unis. Yeah, he can thwart like crazy while burning through the villain each time he likes and minions. That's very true. Justice also, I think the float. I think float is a really solid strategy for him. If you can maintain confuses, you can sit in Imitation, which I think has one of the better responses, where you get to draw a card after you play an event. So if you use like a one way or another, you pull out a side scheme, you draw a card based off that one way or another. A basic thwart will take out a lot of the side schemes in solo because they come in like with 3, and he has a 3 thwart at that point. So that feels decent. Justice is also just really good. Um, but I could see aggression. I think I like Justice. I think Justice is a little bit stronger for him than aggression in true solo. That being said, we have Psylocke and aggression, which can provide that confuse. But the float strategy just felt really good. Flood with allies. He can pay for all the allies because he is so rich. Float like a butterfly. Keep him confused. If you want to stay in imitation so that he just never activates effectively, and if you have access to that much confused with like X and Dazzler and Sonic Rifles and Upside the Head, Upside the Head is Upside the Head is a fantastic card for him because you attack confused. If they're already confused, they stun, and it's a 1-cost event, so you get to trigger your shapeshift upgrade. I think Justice is second to leadership because leadership is leadership. Now I think leadership strength in numbers is a really solid build across the entire table, and he is an Avenger, so you can strengthen numbers and do the Avengers as symbol shenanigans, and I think that's really strong. There are other ways to recur Wiccan in leadership, which seems good. With like Medlab, you can knock him out using his consequential and then play him. And if you're able to flip down using imitation shape, you can then play Wiccan. That being said, I think Justice may actually be a little bit stronger for him than leadership. There are a lot of really solid 0-cost Justice cards, Justice events that can trigger his shape, turn the tide. Already a very effective damage card. Now you also get to trigger Hulk shape. So it's 5 damage. You got one way or another, and you miss out on a lot of those really good, really, really efficient cards that we have in Justice in leadership. And so while he can play the Avenger Swarm, the Avenger Army, really what he has going for him is that he's rich. And like at this point, I feel like we're splitting hairs. He's just really good in all of them, and you can build him. He's so flexible that he can be built in any of the aspects and be amazingly effective in each one of them. Leadership, strength and numbers is the answer to leadership when I'm thinking about like 0-cost events. Strength and numbers draws you 1 card for every ally you exhaust, plus you get to trigger the shapeshift upgrade. I think I'm not thinking that leadership is his best just because leadership feels boring compared to the other aspects. It's not, but it just with how much interaction he has with the kit as well as different aspect cards, it feels like leadership is not as flashy as the other two. Protection, I think, probably is one of his lower aspects, would be my guess. You could run a perfect defense build, I think, fairly effectively. And that's not something I've really done. It's probably something I will do at some point. But you can run like 3 defense and armored shape. He has the healing, so he can make sure that he always has like Dauntless turned on. So he has 3 defense, pump it up to armored with a 4, 5 with his defensive conditioning. And so you are looking at never taking damage and then also healing at that point. I think the weird part with protection is that if you are going with a perfect defense build where you get the 3 defense, you get the retaliate, you get all of that good stuff, you're not using his response on the defensive shape, whatever armored shape, because you're not taking damage, right? The response there is that you heal damage, but if you're not taking damage, then why are you in the shape? So I think protection, his better lines probably lie with a always ready build where you can use the defense of armored shape if you need to, but use it more for the healing and not necessarily always be defending and use like what doesn't kill me and just maybe even tank hits and then just start attacking and then switch into defensive stance. I'm sorry, armored shape when you are ready, when you've taken sustained enough damage, you can heal that back up. So while he can get a 3 defense, I don't feel like in true solo it's that great because the healing and the defense are on the same card. So it feels hard to utilize both of them at the same time. It feels like you have to underutilize one to get the full effect of the other. And so that's a little sad. In multiplayer, I could see him like defending for a teammate and then tanking a hit and then healing using that. So I think it's a little bit better in multiplayer, but in true solo, I would say protection is probably his weakest aspect. And the way that I would play protection is to leading blow, buff attack, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of how I'm thinking of the aspects. I think it'd be justice, leadership, aggression, protection. And the top 3 are really, really tight in terms of power level. And it probably depends on what villain you're facing off because that just changes everything at this point. I think the key takeaway is Hulkling is incredibly flexible. He is very, very rich. He has 4 double resources in his kit. He has a double resource generator in his kit. He's just really good. He has recursion with Altman resonance. He has healing in his kit. He has answers to whatever problem the game sets in front of you in his kit. So you can exploit any aspect really, really well. But I think this Justice game was impressive. I think Justice is probably his best. Leadership, aggression, protection.